Welcome back. For some of us, summer is a time to relax, spend more time outdoors, and enjoy the weather. But for many people, it's a stressful time if you're sharing custody with a former spouse. Certified family law specialist Bud Kluick and Dr. Keith Cantor joining us this morning. Gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
For a lot of parents and kids, this can really be a stressful time. Going into summer, one spouse has to give up the kids. What do you do to try and make it less stressful?
Yes, the visitation very often is very different in the summertime than it is year-round. That's deliberate. That's a pattern. And if that's not true for the particular listener, they may want to come and talk to an attorney who gives a free half-hour consultation and discuss that, because the modern trend is to have very different visitation in the summer. For example, if they're in the city, a normal sharing plan during the school year of maybe 80-20 or 75-25 in terms of percentages with the kids turns into 50-50 very often in the summertime. And on the other hand, if they're out of state, very often the kids fly back to Michigan or Missouri or wherever have you and spend up to 2 months with the other parent. So there's a lot of adjustments to be made because it's so different.
A lot of adjustments for out-of-state parents, especially for newly divorced parents, right?
Right. I note that the bumper music was "I Want to Marry You," which kind of ironic, given that you're going to be talking to the divorced person. But very often, Greg, courts balance a number of different values or public policies. They announced the last decisions by the Supreme Court yesterday, for example, like, say, the New Haven firefighters case, where they're balancing civil rights versus being equal protection, being fair to other people, all the people, and remedial help for African Americans as opposed to being fair to the white firefighters. So they're trying to balance the various values. In our case, they're balancing a public policy of frequent and continuing contact with both parents, which is a big public policy, with the fact that kids have enough on their plate during the school year, with learning long division, the multiplication tables, and looking out for the schoolyard bully. They've got enough on their plate with just growing up. They don't want to add the chaos of going back and forth during the school year. When it's not school year, then the balancing act changes, and they give much more time to the low-time parent usually.
Right. It can be very chaotic. Dr. Cantor, what do you do as far as, the impact that this has on kids? What do you do to try and lessen that on the kids and the parents, right?
Yeah, well, Greg, and parents, you've got to plan ahead of time. It's really important that you work together with your ex-spouse and really talk about the summer ahead of time and talk to the kids, too. So you get your camp set up and you've got all your types of activities set ahead of time, and you get schedules in both houses that match. So I always recommend you get a calendar in each house. It has a plan of when your child's going to be there, what day, what they're doing, and you've got to work with that other parent on behalf of the kids. You've got to put your issues aside and work for your kids ahead of time and really talk to them about, hey, this is when you're going to be there, and you've got to keep that schedule as consistent as you can.
Put their needs ahead of yours.
Yeah, I mean, we always say the number one thing about parenting is you've got to put your kids' needs above yours. I mean, if you really want to be a healthy parent and have healthy kids, you've got to do that.
And if you don't have that structure, if they don't know that structure, it's going to have an effect on them, not only emotionally down the road, but also in school, too, right?
Absolutely. And Bud made a good point that oftentimes over the summers, especially if you have an out-of-state parent, they're going to be spending more time with that parent than they normally do. And it's an adjustment for everybody, not only the kids, but also the parents. You have to get used to relinquishing your own child. And if you're a primary custody parent, or you have them even 50-50, and they go to the other person's house, you've got to get used to that loss yourself. So there's a lot that you as a parent have to prepare yourself for ahead of time for summers, too.
Yeah. Very often children have not seen that other parent since Christmas time or Thanksgiving, so it's a huge adjustment. And there's two lessons I would like to have the viewers go away with, Greg. Number one is that if they have a parenting plan that doesn't differentiate the summers or the off time from the rest of the sharing, I think they need to talk to an attorney, because it really should. If they're a low-time parent, they should get to see their kids more. When they're not in school. And the other thing is, if you're the high-time parent, the fact that you're, as Keith said, relinquishing your kids, it's not really a reflection on you or anything bad about you. That's just the way things are, and it's really a public policy to let both sides have access to their children.
All right, but if people have some family law issues, where can they contact you?
Well, they can call me at 619-448-6500, and we have a website that's showing on the screen, and we're redesigning it. So in about a week, we're going to launch something just wonderful and fabulous.
Perfect. All right. Bud Kluwik, certified family law expert, and Dr. Keith Canner. Appreciate you guys for being here.
Pleasure.
Good information.
All right.
And for more information, go to our website, san diego6.com.